read the book, we're going off the perception, what I'm calling the perception factor. We can't perceive the fact that God is doing these evil things because of what we were told growing up. We were told God was loving, merciful, and all this and this and that. Therefore, again, we know deep down we didn't never meet this person. We have an imagination that we have met this person. We even have an imagination that we heard a voice. We're still going off the perception that's blinding us to exactly what the book is telling you that this entity God is doing. And I think it's just a perception that we just can't phantom the fact that God is doing what I am reading him do. The Bible tells you whenever God and Jesus is speaking in or doing something. And a lot of the times when God is doing something, it's pretty much evil to me from what I'm reading it. And he's sending, I call Moses and the prophets, his goons, out on raids to do all this type of stuff of what we call evil things. Even Jesus' disciples, they're walking around with weapons, even though Jesus ain't about that. They're goons. Mm-hmm. They're even quick to draw on lots of occasions. Mm-hmm. But yet, for some reason, our imagination is blocking us from perceiving what it is that we're actually reading. Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm like, imagination is our everything. Like, it rules your livelihood. Mm-hmm. Not saying, hey, it could probably, not saying this religion thing ain't true. It probably is true. Again, I choose not to believe it because of the things I'm reading.
I think, well, I've experienced angels in real life. So I get what you're saying. And there has been times that I've questioned God because, I'm like, if you're real, if you're the Almighty, why is the world the way that it is? Why is all this stuff going on? Why would you be okay with all this happening? But I think, with the stuff that I've experienced, like, and don't get me wrong, like, I say I'm a Christian, but I'm more spiritual than anything else.
Ooh, I won't really about to get there.
I'm not gonna really claim. I'm not gonna claim a religion. I'm just saying I'm spiritual. I pray and stuff, whatever. But I've actually really experienced angels, and I've been near death, and I've had a lot of stuff going. And the thing is that everybody's whatever is different. And I don't knock what anybody believes. Like, I'm cool for whatever anybody believes. If you're an atheist, if you're like, I don't care. That's, we have right to believe. But based off of my experience, that's what I believe. I don't read the Bible like that. I'm not a whole Bible thumper and all that stuff. I don't read the Bible like that. It's kind of slow and boring for me. So I don't really read it like that. I know scriptures and stuff, but I go based off of my own personal experiences with that.
Okay. So before you go, hold on, Eric. I got a question for her before I forget it. The experience that you say you experienced.
A couple of them. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You didn't give me any details, but just going off what you're telling me.
I can give you details. I have a problem.
Yeah. I'm going to get there. I'm going to get to the details if you didn't mind sharing. But just going off first glance off everything I just said, I still think that's you choosing to want to believe versus you actually believing in it, because it seems like to me coincidences is God.
But the thing is that at that time I wasn't believing in anything. I wasn't even believing in myself.
Even more the reason why I'm
but that's the thing. I had no reason to believe in anything. So if I was going to choose to believe in something, I would have believed in the devil at that time. You know what I'm saying? Because it was just, I've been homeless a few times. I used to live in another state, but now I live in California. And there was a time that I was at Walmart trying to buy my kids some formula when they were younger. And I didn't have enough money. And there was this real nice elderly couple in front of me. And I didn't have enough for the formula. And so they were like, yeah, we'll pay for it. So they paid for it, and I started to walk out the store. Actually, no, they were behind me. I started to walk out the store to wait for them. They never showed up. I went back to the register and I asked the lady, what happened to the people that paid for the formula? She was like, what people? And I was like,
See,
the elderly couple that was just here that paid for the formula. And she was like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, dude, like, what like, I have this in my head. She was like, there was nobody here. And I'm like, yes, there was. And I described him, and everybody was looking at me like I done lost my freaking mind. And I'm just like, no, like, I'm not tripping. I'm not on drugs. I don't drink. I don't do, like, and they were just looking at me, and I ended up leaving the store. Never saw them people ever again. Ever again. The second time, I was at a bench, and I was at the park, and this guy came, was like, can I sit here? And I'm like creeped out because, he's a stranger, stranger danger. And then we got to talking. He ended up being a real sweet old man. And I was already freaking out because I didn't know where me and my kids were going to sleep that night. So I was just going to stay on the bench. This man, and back then, like the hotel, like the motels was cheap. They were like $25 or something. They were mad cheap. And so he got up and he walked away, and I seen that he had left some money on the thing. So I get up to go run after him to go handle the money, and he wasn't there. He was completely gone. He like literally disappeared. The park's not that big, so he can only go one or two directions. He was nowhere there. And at the time, I didn't know what that was, but I thought it was just weird that people were like appearing and disappearing and stuff like that. And because I'm not into like no sorcery, none of that voodoo stuff or anything like that. But then, I'm like, there's just no way that this just literally happened the way that it did. And that's when I started, really like, okay. And I mean, those are just the two main ones. I've had other experiences, but those are the two main ones that,
and those are the coincidences that seem to be, is what I'm talking about right
But
there.
it's not a coincidence
Like,
if nobody saw the people. It'd be different if somebody saw the people. Nobody knew what the hell I was talking about. That's not a coincidence. If nobody knows who you're talking about, but you have the receipt in your hand showing that this formula was paid by somebody else, that's not a coincidence. A coincidence is like, oh, oh yeah, we happen to be wearing the same color shirt. That's a coincidence. It's when two people are on the same, when somebody completely doesn't know who you're talking about and nobody else in the line, that's definitely not a coincidence.
well, a coincidence is also this truck flipped over 55 times, and yet here I am out of the car with no scratches. Won't he do it? It's the coincidence.
Oh, I ain't no damn
But
coincidence. That's
yeah,
just true.
but that right there, hearing that, to me, I'm still getting imagination, because one of the number one fascinating things to me about imagination is that imagination will make you believe whatever it is in front of you, no matter what. Like, for some, going off what science has said about the brain, and going off what it said about imagination, consciousness, and all that stuff, going off all of that, what you just said, again, could be, but it's an imagination because
But I didn't
you
imagine
see
that.
it. You seen it. You seen it. Like, just because you believe this doesn't mean that this is what it is. It's just you believing it.
I gotta push back on that, Donnie.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think you're trying to define belief two different ways. And
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer that you don't choose what you believe. You're either convinced that something is true or you're not convinced.
Yeah. Like, we know Santa Claus isn't
and whether
real.
you've imagined it or you've perceived it is wholly irrelevant. It's about being convinced or not. So getting hung up on whether it was an angel or whether it was a stranger that nobody wanted to talk about doesn't really matter. She didn't choose what she believed about the situation. She just accepted what she understood to be true. I don't think it takes a terrible amount of imagination. It certainly takes zero choice to come to that conclusion.
But have you, since you're now believing in God, what's
I mean,
the
I've always believed
reason?
in God.
But what's the reason behind it though? Like, you saying well,
Because
this is what I
I
mean. But
died for 5 minutes and went to heaven. That's why. I was dead. I mean, come on now. I was dead.
With going off science, when you die or supposedly flatline, you're not totally really dead. Like if you could be brought back, you were never dead to begin with. Your body just stopped functioning for a
But
for
you
a
know,
period of
that's what,
time.
because I am a
But
scientist. I'm a forensic scientist, and I know about scientists.
oh,
Dead is dead.
oh,
You got
okay,
no heart, you're
okay,
dead. Dead is dead.
okay, oh,
You can't
okay.
tell
Donnie,
scientists
I
about
think you're still trying to
scientific
have
stuff.
it two ways, because you can't like live exclusively in your imagination and still be bound entirely to the facts. Like, which side of the fence are you landing on?
That's what I'm asking. Like, have you ever met the entity God for you to believe in God versus going off the perception of what you were told angels were, or reading a book that told you what angels may be? It's still an imagination, no matter what.
Okay.
I mean, I imagine me on. Hold on, let me say this real quick. I imagine me on the beach in Jamaica with Jason Momoa. That's about as far as my imagination goes. Literally, you know. I mean, if I'm imagining, like, you know, we had imaginary friends as kids and stuff like that. That's what I think of imagination. That's what I think about. You know, we tell our kids, you know, to believe in a Santa Claus that we all know doesn't exist, but we all know Santa Claus doesn't exist. But hell, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody, like, you know, some, you know, in the Asian culture, they believe in Buddha. I personally don't believe in Buddha, but to them, that's their God. So, you know, maybe they've had experiences with, you know, their God, their Buddhism or whatever that they believe. I believe based off of experiences. I can't explain what they were. I never asked for angels. I never asked for somebody to help me out. I never asked for anybody to drop money. I never asked for any of that because I was at a time in my life where I was
believe that then? That's my whole point of this.
Because I was shown that something is there. Something hears my cry. Something knows that I'm hurting.
But we also connect to something. This thing is we have to when we come to the Bible situation, everything, and whether there's God, whether there's heaven, whatever, hell, whatever, we have to tie in a connection to something that brings us back to reality. To bring us out of this reality. Because when you're going through trials and tribulations and you're going through your lowest point, you need something to bring you out of that. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what the whole idea of what you think heaven could be. That's your imagination part, is what you thinking heaven is.
Yeah, now, I mean, we don't know.
Neither one of us has ever physically died for real and found out. It's not a scientist allowed to say he died and stayed dead and went to heaven and came back and woke up and we can tell the story. It's never happened.
This scientist right here said that.
But I'm saying, you might be comatose for a while.
And I've seen. So I didn't say I went all through the thing of heaven, but I was there for 5 minutes, and I know that there's something there. That's what I'm saying.
But
it's the same thing. You ain't gotta have to take a tour of heaven. Just know that heaven is there. That's what.
But here's my thing is. We have to base off yes, our perception, but it's our feelings that we ties into it.
That's hold
on. You never have you ever seen air? No, you never seen air, but you know it's there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
What they call air is something there.
Wherever pumping my damn lungs right now and making me live is there. You know what I'm saying? So it's a feeling that we have internally. Now, whether we go over the Bible or when we go over our spirituality, when we go over how we feel, it's on us. But sometimes for me, for my connection to God and everything is, I know being through a low point in my life. Mm-hmm. There had to be something higher that pulled me out of it, that lower point. Now, hold on. I'm not saying my thing.
I'm talking about.
I didn't seek therapy. I didn't seek therapy at that time. I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't know nothing about therapy. I'm like you. I like unique. I was homeless one time, so I didn't seek therapy. I didn't know what I was going to do. I was at my lowest point where I felt like death would have been the only option.
Suicide. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Death is the only option. And right when you got to that place when you like, shit, I'm so low that looking down looks up to me. I was that low. Something something make you wake up one day and say, yo, you know what?